Hey everyone, it's been a while. Yes, I got sick again. Unbelievable. I'm still kind of stuffed up. As per what, about a month ago, I did a video. Ridiculous. I guess I need to go get the flu shot or whatever, the COVID shot. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Today is not a hangout video, though I did bring a fresh cup of hot coffee. Hot cup of coffee. But I'm finally doing my, I don't even want to call it my best of 2025 because guys, I thought 2025 was a stinker of a year for movies. And I know some of you are going to say you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about, but bear with me. I'm going to try to get through it. This may be a shorter video. I'm not really sure how much talking I'm going to do about all of the different ones. I've only got a handful of movies that I actually quite liked to really liked. And then I've got like 10 or 12 movies that I really did not care for. So I'll be talking about all of them in a little detail, but I'm not going to. I'll try not to bore you to death because the other thing is I don't have any of these movies to hold up on physical media anymore. I did buy a couple of them, but I got rid of them because 2025. So yeah, so what I did was I divided it. I started to do like sort of a bottom of the barrel, mid or meh, and then like my top stuff, which is not that exciting, I have to be honest, but that doesn't make it, my description of this video probably does not make you feel like you would want to stick around, but you know, some of you just like to hang out with me, I guess. A few of you comment and stuff. So I guess that's for you. This one's for you, my friends. I also turned 56 today, which is another thing. Although I think that's more like I think it's 4:20 in the afternoon that I will officially turn 56. And I will hopefully be sitting in a Chinese restaurant eating delicious Chinese food. But that's all aside. I am getting one piece of physical media for my birthday, which I know of, which I've been told to, or no, I've told myself that I should try to forget it, but it's a compact disc that got released last week that I really wanted. So, and then the rest is surprises, I guess. So we're gonna jump right into it, and these are absolutely in no particular order, though. Maybe when I get to my top or closer to the top kind of films, I will kind of say where they sit. But the first thing I'm going to do is talk about kids movies because I take my niece, my beautiful niece, who I am a caregiver to. I take her to kids movies a lot. And she is 23 years old, but she really likes kids movies. And I actually really like kids movies, so it's kind of a win-win for both of us. I'm not going to judge those movies per se. There's one I think that I can think of I actually kind of like, but the rest of them I'm not going to rank them or even really talk about them that much just because, I don't know, kids movies are kids movies, and I'm just going to move this over a bit. Kids movies are kids movies, and I mean, you could get into the minutia of the animation and all that stuff, but I don't know. I just who has the time? Who has the time? So the kids movies that I saw this past year in 2025, Elio, which I believe is I want to say a Pixar movie. I remember liking the first little bit of it, and then it turned into one of those modern kids movies where it's just strobe lights and dance music and colors and yelling, and I just check out. On that note, though, I just remembered I forgot one, so I'll mention it now before I forget. Actually, I forgot two. Holy crap! Um, the Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. I took my niece to see that one. She really liked that movie. It had a lot of dance music in it, and she was dancing in the movie theater. She was just got her hands like she was at a rave or something. I actually just stopped watching the movie and just sat there and watched my niece dance. It was incredible. She's so wonderful, and her energy is amazing. She lives with special needs, and so I try to get her out of the house and do some different things other than, just around the house kind of stuff. And I discovered she loves dance music. So uh, when we're in the car, although she also really likes metal. So when we're in the car this past week, we listened to the band Windhand, and she seemed to quite like that. But yeah, Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, she really quite liked that. I thought it was kind of cute for what it was. Anybody probably over the age of 40 has no anybody over the age of 40 with no kids probably has no idea what I'm talking about, unless you're maybe like a caregiver or a grandparent or something like that. But it's a kids show. It's about a young woman who shrinks down into a little animated person, and then she lives in this dollhouse with all these little cats, different cats and characters, and they all have kind of like different personalities and stuff. But and then this one was like the dollhouse went missing, and then there was that woman from SNL. I forget her name. Kate something maybe. Anyway, she gets the dollhouse, and then they have to go rescue the doll. Blah, blah, blah. And the other one I forgot to put on my list was actually one I really liked was Paddington Bear, or Paddington 3. Here's the thing with 2025 movies. If you say a movie from 2025, I generally speaking, 90% of the time, I can't remember what the movies were about. And that's why I think, for me anyway, 2025 was a bit disappointing. I can't remember a lot about the movies I watched, except with the exception of a few. But yeah, Paddington 3 was great. The ending is a real tearjerker. I do believe I talked about that movie in one of my videos before, but another one I took my niece to, and I like the other Paddington movies. I think they're really well done. They're the opposite of those strobe light music, screaming, colorful type kids movies, and they're more slow paced, and they might have a bit of adventure in them, but they're more chill. Those are the kind of kids movies I can kind of tolerate at this point in my life. I'm halfway to 112, for Christ's sake. Let's see, what other kids movies did I see? Lilo and Stitch, the live action Lilo and Stitch. I did not care for that movie. I remember liking the original animated version of Lilo and Stitch back in the day when it came out, because back then my son was a little kid, and so I remember him and I watching it, and I remember liking that one. This one, it's basically the same story, except if I recall, they turned up the obnoxious on the little girl character and on the Stitch character. So where in the original they were kind of mischievous, in this one they're almost kind of like just obnoxious, to the point where I was just like, I don't like this. So not memorable. Smurfs had a theatrical movie this year. I took my niece to see that one. I don't remember anything about it. I think Rihanna was the voice of Smurfette. I can't remember anything else about that movie. Very forgettable. And that's it for kids movies. So let's get into the bottom of the barrel, kind of forgettable, kind of meh, kind of Hollywood movies or even independent movies that I watched that I did not care for. I'll start with the ones I turned off. So that is definitely bottom of the barrel, if not like the absolute shits on this list. A Clown in a Cornfield, which was, I don't know, all the horror nerds were like buzzing about it. I decided to give it a shot. I turned it off. I thought it was really, really stupid. I don't know what they were attempting with that. I guess it was like hey, Art the Clown from Terrifier is popular, and Children of the Corn was once popular, and so let's mash them together in this small town kind of atmosphere with like your young, your teenagers, young teenagers. Anyway, turned it off. Woman in the Yard was another one I tried to watch and I turned off. I don't know what that movie was. Really dumb to me. I thought it was really, really dumb. I mean, this is like the gloves are off today, guys, because like I said, 2025 was, for me anyway, a real disappointment. I know some people were like freaking out over a couple movies, which we will get to, but Woman in the Yard, I watched about 40 minutes of it. I was like, nope. And I'm also at the age now where, like, if I invest 30 minutes or 40 minutes into a movie and I'm not getting something out of it, I just move on to the next, because guys, my days are limited. I could, I've only got like I could only have like a couple of decades left. So it's like, I'm not going to waste my time watching these not good indie horror movies or whatever they are. But Woman in the Yard, yep. It was a movie with a lady sitting on a chair in a yard, and then they were like locking up the house or something, and then I was like, bye-bye. Thunderbolts, a Marvel movie called Thunderbolts. I turned that one off. For the record, and anybody who's watched my channel for the last almost 4 years, believe it or not, coming up on my 4th anniversary, anybody who's watched my channel for a while knows that I checked out on Marvel movies a long time ago. I used to take my son to see them back when they first started coming out, like the Iron Man and Ant-Man and all the ones, And I actually really like the original, like the sort of like the ones that the origin stories. I like those ones, especially back in the day. Like, I thought Iron Man, the first Iron Man, I thought was, when I saw that, I was like, that was incredible, really. And I really haven't been that interested in superhero movies since about the first Avengers. I really kind of checked out. I kind of like Doctor Strange, but I just kind of checked out. And it got too much. I couldn't, like, I don't know all the characters, and to watch all the TV series and stuff, I don't have Disney, so I was like, whatever. For some reason, Thunderbolts I thought looked funny, entertaining, and I heard some good things about it, decided to put it on. But I didn't care for it. I turned it off. I gave that movie a long shot. Like, it was probably approaching an hour, and then I was like, nah, bye-bye. Even though it's got that guy in it, David something, who I do actually like, and he looks really, the stuff in the trailer with him looked really funny. I forget what character he is, but yeah, I don't know. I was just checked out. I wrote that I had turned off I Know What You Did Last Summer from last summer. I don't think I actually turned that off. I think I watched that all the way through, unfortunately. That was a major disappointment for me. I Know What You Did Last Summer, of course, was a popular movie in the late 90s with all the Jennifer Love Hewitts and the kids in it. And I don't know, I was kind of like, I liked the other two. I didn't see the third one. I think that was a straight to video. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. But I liked the first two, and I thought, yeah, there's a new one coming out. It might be fun. I actually asked my sister if she'd go with me in the summer, and then it came and went, and it kind of just slipped off my radar. And then I watched it on streaming, and I thought it was just atrocious. So glad I didn't spend the money on the theater visit for that one. Yeah, avoid, if you like the original or even the second one, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, just avoid the new one. It's just not, it's just, to me, and I know a lot of other horror fans were saying, like, why are they trying to turn this into a franchise? It was a big-ish movie back in the day, like 97, 99, whatever. But I don't know if it's worthy of a trilogy or a series, like a franchise. I just don't see it. I thought the first couple movies were really good, just tight little thrillers. I thought Thanksgiving by Eli Roth from a couple of years ago really leaned into the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I appreciated, because he did it. But this is another one of these like legacy requel. It's just a bunch of horse shit. So avoid that one at all costs. Again, these are just my opinions. You may have watched it and thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but Jurassic Park Rebirth with Scarlett Johansson, ScarJo. These movies were so bad that I almost don't even really want to spend time talking about them. I kind of knew going into this that it was not going to be great. I did like Jurassic World, the first one, and I did watch the two sequels, and I thought they were so-so. This one, I thought, oh, it's interesting. Scarlett Johansson's going to be in it. I thought maybe it'll breathe some new life into it or something, but it's just the same. I mean, how many more times are we going to beat the dead horse with a wooden bat? It's just done. It's done, guys. Stop making. And I'm pretty sure they're making another one. I could be wrong, but anyway, if you like Jurassic Park, go watch Jurassic Park. Go watch Jurassic Park 3, even. But yeah, Jurassic Park Rebirth or Jurassic World Rebirth, whatever it's called. Really bad. Novocaine was another movie I watched last year from 2025. This had Jack Quaid in it. This is a movie about a guy who can't feel pain. And then I think his girlfriend is kidnapped and he has to go get her, and he has to endure all these beatings and stabbings, but he can't feel pain, so he's like a human version of a Terminator, I guess. Very generic to me. It was entertaining. I will give it that. It was a turn your brain off on his Friday night with order in some pizza and turn your brain off and watch Novocaine. It was just kind of goofy, mindless, not terrible. I believe this is from one or a couple of the people that were involved with John Wick. So it's got that kind of vibe to it. And similarly, I watched Nobody Part 2, which came out last August. This is a sequel to Nobody. And this time around, the family goes on vacation and they get into a skirmish with some people at a like Disneyland kind of looking place or something. Again, it's like 2025 was so forgettable to me. But yeah, Nobody 2. It was exactly the same as the first movie, but just cut it out of its surroundings and place it into like some kind of vacation, like a resort type place. It was, and it sucks because I really, really, really liked the first Nobody. I thought it was great. I mean, that fight scene on the city transit bus was unbelievable. It's like, I don't know if you're like me. I have this kind of weird thing where sometimes when it's like extremely violent, there's something satisfying about it. And I know I probably sound like a complete maniac, but like, remember in Goodfellas when Ray Liotta, when his wife said that the guy across the street, the stud guy across the street, was bothering her, like hitting on her, and he went in the house or he went across the street with his handgun and he pistol whipped that guy across the face, holding his hair and just going tsh, tsh. And I mean, it was so graphic, but it was like, I don't know why, but I find this really sexy and alluring. And I don't know why. It's just really a disturbing thing. But the Nobody movie, kind of the first one, gave me those kind of feels, like just that. I don't know. And like the character, what's his name? I think it's Bob Odenkirk is his name, the lead actor. He's not a big guy. He's not threatening at all in his stature. He's just like this little sort of regular guy who goes to his office job and works out and drinks coffee and always misses the garbage truck. But when that switch goes on, he's just like so violent. And I will say Nobody 2 did have some of that in it, but I felt like we had already seen it. So I wasn't really that into it. All right. So that was kind of the bottom of the barrel. And then I'm going to go into some of the bigger stuff. Actually, yeah, okay. So that was, okay. So I actually did divide it into 3 sections. So I'll go back. So what I just gave you was kind of like the bottom of the barrel / kids movies, which I'm not rating or whatever. So the middle tier, we had Phoenician Scheme, directed by Wes Craven, starring Benicio del Toro, Michael Cera, Bryan Cranston, Scarlett Johansson comes in again, and this was a Wes Anderson movie. And I saw this in the movie theater with my friend Tracy, and we both laughed quite a bit throughout it, especially Michael Cera's character, who was just had this. Well, I mean, I love Michael Cera anyway. I don't think Michael Cera can do any wrong, but he was just had this funny like accent, and he was, oh, I don't know. He was very like meek and mild and awkward and just kind of, speaking his mind, but nobody was listening to him and that kind of thing. And I thought it was really good. Not my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I prefer the movies he does where it's a bit more straight ahead. I thought like Grand Budapest Hotel. I don't like mystery movies where you have to figure out who the killer is and stuff like that. I don't like those kind of movies because I'm a very my brain is like this big, and I can't follow if it's too complicated, which is like, the Matrix or things like that. It's like I have no idea. Back to the Future, like anything involving like time travel or mysteries or like whodunits, things like that. Nah. Phoenician Scheme, it had a bit of that, like you had to unpack as the movie went on, like what's really happening and who's this character in relation to this character. And so there was a bit of that. It's a movie I feel like I would have to watch again, but I would watch it again because of Michael Cera's performance, because he just, every time he came on the screen, I was laughing. And I was pretty much my friend Tracy was laughing too, but I was really like, I just adore Michael Cera. So that film had a budget of $30 million and the box office was $40.2 million. It currently holds a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Screen Daily wrote that The Phoenician Scheme, while the film is transporting, the narrative proves to be fussy rather than delightful. And I just copied that over to my review because I kind of felt the same way. Charming, but a bit irritating or something. I don't know how to put it into words. Fussy rather than delightful. But I wouldn't say it wasn't delightful, but it was a bit muddled at times. And you really, with those movies, you sometimes have to really pay attention, which is why I prefer more of the older stuff he did, like Life Aquatic or Bottle Rocket or things like that. Not quite as there's not too much going on in the plot. Maybe that's how I would say it. The plot was overstuffed. My next film on the mid-range is Fantastic Four: First Steps, directed by Matt Shakman, who is mostly known as a TV director. This film, Fantastic Four: First Steps, stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn. This movie has a weird. About a year ago when they first started talking about this and you started to see images, I was really excited because this is like the Fantastic Four, but it's like put through a 60s retro futuristic filter. So the furniture looks like it's out of the 60s, but like modern, kind of give you that the vibes of the movie The Incredibles, that kind of thing going on. I grew up in the 70s, so like I definitely was around 60s kind of, carry over into the 70s. So it does appeal to me like on an aesthetic level. And so I was really excited. This movie was neat, but quite bland. I can't say that it was all that memorable. It did have that 60s Fantastic Four thing going on. It even had the little robot there in it. But I just didn't find that the story was thin. The acting was okay, but it wasn't. You don't get the origin story as far as I can remember, there's not much of an origin part to it. It's just they just jump in. I guess that's because they've told the origin story so many times. In the 2005 version and then in the 2015 version, which a lot of people didn't like, I actually like it. But yeah, very kind of middle of the road. Nothing stood out to me about it, except for the look, the design, the production design for the film, the way everything looked, the vehicles, the buildings, the interiors, it had that kind of like the old computer looking stuff. It was great. Like from that angle, it was great. I just didn't really feel like they did much with the characters. Silver Surfer was in there with Galactus, I guess. Again, really, just really forgettable. The crazy thing about these movies is that probably 2 years ago, I would have bought most of these on Blu-ray when they came out. This year, as a lot of you who've been following my channel know, I'm trying to decrease the amount of stuff I buy and just being a little more mindful about what I buy. So I did watch these on streaming, and kind of glad in a way, because I probably wouldn't revisit a lot of these films. The next film up, which will be a hot take for some people, but that is the movie Weapons, directed by Zach Cregger. He also directed Barbarian from a few years ago. He's currently working on a new Resident Evil film. And he was a producer on the film Companion, which I will talk about in a little bit. Weapons stars Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. It was a massive hit at the box office. It's a massive hit on streaming. It's a massive hit for a lot of movie reviewers. I thought it was just very ordinary. I thought the first half of it was quite good, and I was really excited to see where it would go. But with a lot of these movies, like even with Barbarian, the build-up in Barbarian was great. The ending, I just don't get it. So many filmmakers now drop the ball in the third act, and for me, Weapons was another one of those ones. I was just like, okay. I can't even remember. Some kids running with their arms stuck out, and something about was it a piece of hair or something? They were wrapping around a stick, and then people died or got sick. I was just like, what? I'm mostly baffled because everybody's going on about these movies, and I'm going to get to one that's, sweeping the Oscars, which I just do not get. But yeah, Weapons, it was okay. I just don't get how people are, it's that toxic positivity. That's what's going on. I know the kids talk about it. I know all about it. And I just thought Weapons was very average. I couldn't tell you really, I couldn't remember much about it. I really could care less. It was okay. Will I rewatch it? Probably not. Now, a movie that went straight to streaming, well, it had a limited theatrical run, and that's Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo del Toro. This stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz. Oh my God, I love Christoph Waltz. This had a limited theatrical run, and apparently Del Toro had been wanting to make this movie for a really long time. It's been nominated for a bunch of awards, much like another movie I'm going to get to in a minute, and it's already won some awards. It currently has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. The budget was $120 million, and the box office was $480,678. So I don't quite get that. I guess there must be streaming revenue still to be accounted for, because it was 120 million and it didn't even make $1 million. It didn't even make $500,000. That's what I got off of Wikipedia, but I don't know. You guys can tell me. Maybe there's still revenue to come in from physical media, or actually, I don't even think it's on disc, but from streaming revenue. A lot of people put this movie over as well. Frankenstein by Del Toro. I wanted to like this movie so bad, but I just thought it was very average. I've loved a lot of Del Toro movies: Kronos, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, Devil's Backbone, even more, some of the more recent ones. The one, Shape of Water, I thought was really good. This one, I guess it's because I'm more used to like the Universal Monsters version of Frankenstein that um when I watched this, I guess I was expecting something more along those lines, and it was like uh, an old ship, an old wooden ship uh, stuck in the ice, and like Oscar Isaac is. The story starts at the end or something, and then the monster is okay looking, I guess. I guess I'm used to a guy with a great big forehead with stitches and bolts sticking out of the side of his neck. This was a very different version of that. It was still had the stitches and stuff, but it wasn't that kind of classic looking Frankenstein's monster, I should say, actually. Um, I don't know. I wanted to like it. I thought it was okay. Um, I've talked to a few people about the. Now I haven't watched any of like the behind the scenes, like the making of and stuff, to see like the sets and stuff, but I thought of a lot of it looked really phony, like or CGI looking. The backgrounds and stuff, I did not think it looked cinematic in any way. I just maybe if I saw it on the big screen, I don't know, but Del Toro's Frankenstein was a very middle of the road for me. And that leads me to the one that everybody on the earth is just goo goo gaga over, and I didn't get it. And that is Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther 1 and 2. This stars Michael B. Jordan and Hallie Steinfeld. The budget, yeah. Oh, and yeah, and the budget for this movie was between 90 and $100 million, and the box office was $368.3 million. It's nominated for 16 Academy Awards. It has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, though on IMDb it holds a 7.5. Somebody school me on this. I watched this movie. I'm not gonna lie, I came close to turning this off. I don't get what the hype is with this movie. I saw Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah. If I was gonna, I should leave a review on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes. I saw Dusk Till Dawn. Period. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Did it look nice? Yeah. Was the color palette of the costumes and the background and the setting and the atmosphere of this, juke joint in the middle of nowhere, and the darkness and the fireflies and it was a gorgeous looking movie. But what am I missing as far as like the plot? And then it's three white people that come along with banjos and start singing, and they're like devilish or something. And I just don't, guys, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people love this movie. I am out in the dark on this one. I do not get it. I did watch it all the way to the end. I don't know. I just thought, okay. I think I talked about it in one of my Hangout videos, and I said I almost wish that I could have seen the story of the musician in the film, and if this had been like a made up story about a blues singer, and then at the end you had Buddy Guy, and it was like telling the story of this blues singer, and you could have all kinds of other crazy things happen to this person, but use the production design that you used in this film, is replace the vampires with like something a little more, something you could chew on, something a little more tangible. I just thought it was all style and not a lot of substance, but I'm in the minority because apparently it's got 16 nominations in the Academy Awards and all this stuff, and I don't even know if the Academy Awards have happened, if it's the winner, but I don't get it. If it got an Academy Award for production design, I would say absolutely. Yep. It definitely deserves that. If it got an Academy Award for music, I would say, yep. But Best Picture? No, not even close. That said, I don't really have a Best Picture of last year. So that's my kind of middle of the road, my kind of meh movies. And then when I start talking about the ones I really liked, I'm sure a lot of you are going to roll your eyes and go, really? Really? But a lot of the movies I actually really liked were kind of cheesy horror movies. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. Now, do I think these movies deserve like Academy Awards for the most part? No. But were they, in my mind, solid movies? Yes. So the first one I will talk about, which is one I bought on DVD, I have since passed it along to another person. It was the movie Heart Eyes, which came out about a year ago. It was a Valentine's horror comedy directed by Josh Rubin, who also did movies called Scare Me and Werewolves Within, which I have never heard of. This stars Olivia Holt, Mason Gooding, and Devon Sawa. Devon Sawa. He's there. The budget for Heart Eyes was $18 million, and the box office was $33.1 million. This currently has a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought Heart Eyes was a nice throwback to the slashers of the 80s and 90s. Nothing new. I thought the mask that the killer wore was cool. It is nothing. There's really not, if somebody were to talk to me right now, they'd say Sinners had more of a plot than Heart Eyes. You could probably argue that, but Heart Eyes just went straight to the heart of the matter, if you will. I just thought it was fun. Again, Friday night, order a pizza, turn your brain off, throw on Heart Eyes. It's fun, it's mindless, but if you like that kind of thing, if you like your 80s slashers, it's just a fun time. I wouldn't know. It's not an Academy Award winner, but if you like independent slasher type movies, you're probably gonna dig that one. It's just fun. Which then, I think after I watched that, I watched the movie Valentine, which is another one I had never watched from the 2000s. And I kind of like that one as well. So it's, if you like that kind of vibe, that like, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then mix in a bit of like 80s slasher. Good. Now, this is going to be a really hot take, and I'm sure some of you are going to turn my video off at this point. But I really liked Megan 2.0. I know. That movie totally got shit on. And I don't think it's an Academy Award winner, but I thought it was quite clever. I don't get why it was such a miss for the studio. This was directed by Gerard Johnstone, who did the first Megan. And before that, he actually did one of my favorite indie horrors, which is a movie called Housebound, which if you've never seen it is really fun. A horror comedy. Megan 2.0 stars Allison Williams and Violet McGraw. The budget was between $15 and $25 million, and the box office was a paltry $39.1 billion. This film currently holds a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes, and from what I hear from everybody, I think I heard one other person say they liked it. Everybody else is like, this was awful. This wasn't a horror movie. This was an action movie. This was a ripoff of Terminator 2 or whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's a thing where you can listen to so many people online and you start to believe, It's like that movie, The Keeper. I haven't seen that yet, but so many people shit on that movie. And it's directed by Osgood Perkins. I know he didn't write the story, but I'm so really curious to watch it. Because everybody says, oh, it was terrible. It was so slow and blah, blah, blah. But if you like his kind of movies, a lot of them are pretty slow. Black Coat's Daughter and Longlegs. It's atmosphere with those movies. It's not, So, but Megan 2.0, I thought it was just fun. It is more actiony than horror. But if you rewatch Megan, I wonder if the intention was that it was just a straight up horror movie. I think it was like a sci-fi sort of like a thriller. It really wasn't a horror movie per se. I mean, it had horrific parts, don't get me wrong, but I thought always sort of looked at it as more of like a sci-fi thriller. Uh, artificial intelligence, kids' toys coming to life, which is apparently gonna become a real thing anyway. So, I thought it was just fun. It's Friday night. I order myself a pizza. I throw on Megan 2.0. I turn my brain off, have a couple edibles, and hey, it's off to the races, baby. So, if you liked Megan the original, and you like Terminator or more like action themed movies, and you're willing to just let your disbelief go and just enjoy it for what it is, they're dolls fighting each other. I mean, we're not talking like Gone with the Wind here, people. It's two girl dolls fighting. It's just silly fun. People need to lighten up, man. Going back to Osgood Perkins, the next film I watched was The Monkey. As I mentioned, Osgood Perkins also directed Longlegs from a couple of years ago, and most recently he directed Keeper. This movie stars Theo James, Tatiana Maslany, and Christian Convery. The Monkey is based on a Stephen King idea story. The budget was between $10 and $11 million, and the box office was $68.9 million. It currently holds a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently, so in this one, it's a little wind-up monkey, and he plays a drum. I didn't know this until recently. I think it was it Hack the Movies or one of those channels that said that Disney apparently owns the copyright of the monkey with the cymbals, and so they had to change it to a monkey with a drum. I was like, really? Disney owns this? Maybe they'll sue me now because they did improper use of a trademark. But I quite enjoyed this movie. I thought when I was watching it, I thought if you like Final Destination, but you want more of a comedic version of that, this would probably fill that bill. There's a lot of I won't spoil it because some people probably haven't seen it yet, but the way it's cut is I found really, really funny. So it's like somebody's going along and all of a sudden they're dead, and instead of like the scene finishing out, it just cuts to like funeral music and a picture of the person's image on one of those stands at the funeral home, and it keeps doing that, and I found that really funny. Like, I was laughing out loud watching that. Right out of the gate, the guy tries to sell the monkey back to the pawn shop where he got it, and the guy's like, no toy, no returns on toys or something, and he's like, this is not a toy, and like, don't do anything to aggravate the monkey, and of course, madness ensues, and then it's just do. I thought the kids in the movie were really good. They were really convincing in those roles, and it was really fun. I kind of like, I mentioned Final Destination, but I kind of thought in my mind, I haven't had this feeling since I watched Drag Me to Hell. It had just that perfect fusion of horror and comedy mixed together that works so well. So if you like those kind of movies, like Drag Me to Hell or Evil Dead, like those are obviously Sam Raimi type, or those are his movies, but like it had that kind of an aesthetic to it, or that vibe. And I really thought it was fun. I did rewatch that movie while I was making this list, just to kind of revisit it. But I actually really like that one, and I would recommend that if you like that. This is, oh, excuse me. I really have to blow my nose. Is that okay? Just stay there for a sec. I thought it was just really, really fun, and I would highly recommend it if you like horror comedies. If you like, well, it's not really a killer doll, but a killer monkey doll, if you will. Sorry. I know it's gross, but It's no fun being sick, kids. Wear your masks, wash your hands. I'm even thinking I'm going to start wearing rubber gloves when I go out. But yeah, The Monkey, definitely one of my favorites of last year. Speaking of Final Destination Bloodlines, which is another one I bought the physical disc of. I have since passed that on because I watched it a second time and then I thought to myself, am I likely to watch this again? And I was able to recoup most of the money I put into it. So somebody else in the world is enjoying that disc, which is fine by me. Final Destination Bloodlines, directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein. Apparently, they are the ones who are working on the new Gremlins movie, Gremlins 3. Please stop. Dear Hollywood. Dear Hollywood. Yeah, apparently they're working on a new Gremlins movie. This stars Caitlin Santa Iwana and Teo Briones. Sorry if I butchered your names. Final Destination Bloodlines had a budget of $50 million and a box office of $136 million. It currently holds a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently there's another sequel already in the works. So this would be what? So that was what? I think that was part 6. I think it's good to just call them Final Destination and then something instead of Final Destination 4, Final Destination 5, Final Destination 6, Final Destination 7. I think the next one would be part 7. You could correct me if I'm wrong. I've always enjoyed the Final Destination movies, even the really kind of not great ones. I just like the premise and the scenarios. If you like gory stuff, if you like outrageous deaths, Final Destination is probably your jam. Apparently this one, Final Destination Bloodlines, was the highest grossing and best reviewed installment in the franchise. So I really liked it. I did review this, I think, earlier in the year or last year when I got the Blu-ray. The opening scene, which involves a like newly built tower, like skyscraper tower type thing, like a CN Tower type thing. That opening scene is wild and is so well done. The special effects in it are so good. I thought it was so well done, and I just thought the rest of the movie was really good. I'm trying to think now. Geez, I just remembered another movie I forgot. Was Jack Quaid in that one? I can't remember now. There was a scene involving a like an MRI machine and magnets or something and a wheelchair, and it was really gory. But I thought Final Destination Bloodlines was great. If you like the Final Destination series, you'll probably dig it. It's it has that kind of, the opening has that kind of retro futuristic look, but it's fun. It's just, it's just like, if you're not familiar with those Final Destination movies, basically like, the people who survive a deadly accident, death basically comes for each of them in sequential order, and this carries that style, carries on with that style, and I just thought it was really fun. Again, turn your brain off, just roll with it. I'm trying to remember if I did not put the movie together. Oh, right. I discovered that was, no, wait. I also watched that movie Together, but I totally forgot to do any kind of write-up on it. That one is a horror movie that came out last summer, which so the movie Together is, I guess, next on my list, even though I forgot to put it on there. But it was a horror movie about a couple, and they decide to go on a hike after moving into their new house, and they fall into a hole in the woods, and in that hole there was a lake, like a puddle, and they drank from the puddle, and then they started to fuse together, like physically. So if you like body horror, you probably would really like this movie. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it might have been a little overhyped in the media and stuff and reviewers, but it was decent. It has James Franco in it, who is not, or no, Dave Franco, who is not one of my favorite actors. I liked him in this movie actually a bit better than I had in previous movies. Um, it's got some cool body horror in it and stuff like that. But again, it's all like, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but so many of these movies last year are just so forgettable to me. But yeah, together, okay, it was okay. If you like body horror, if you want to watch a body horror movie, you probably will dig that one. I thought it was a bit of a slow burn, but there are scenes where they're sitting too close together and their skin starts to like graft together, and then they have to like take a saw and cut themselves free and stuff. It's parts of it are a little stomach churning, but yeah, it was all right. The next movie that's officially on my list is Bring Her Back, directed by Danny and Michael Philippou, who directed the film Talk to Me a few years ago. This stars Billy Barrett, Sora Wong, Jonah Wren Phillips, and Sally Hawkins. The budget for Bring Her Back was $15 million and the box office was $39.1 million. It currently holds an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I did rewatch this movie for the review, and I thought I probably would move this down into the middle of the road kind of, okay, average movie. This was another one that got so much hype, and I thought, what am I missing here? I thought Talk to Me was really good, anybody who's been watching my channel for a few years, I did do a review of that. I'm pretty sure I definitely talked about it, but Talk to Me I thought was really good. It was original. I thought Bring Her Back was original, but upon second watching, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first time. Sally Hawkins is really good in it. The kids are pretty good in it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Sora Wong who played the blind girl in the film. She, I think, had never acted before, and her mom just responded to a casting call or something. She was really good in it, but I don't know. There was some kind of weird underlying uncomfortableness to it for me that I just couldn't move past in my second viewing. I don't know. I just thought it was okay. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Now, I would say the last three are probably the ones that I thought were the better of last year. The first one up is 28 Years Later, directed by Danny Boyle, who also did one of my favorites, Shallow Grave, along with Trainspotting. 28 Days Later, he was an executive producer on 28 Years Later, plus the new 28 Years Later Bone Temple, which just came out a week ago or 2 weeks ago. This stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes. It had a budget of $60 million and a box office of $151.3 million. The film was primarily shot using an iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is a throwback to the original 28 Days Later, which I believe was filmed on was it an early digital camera or a video camera or something? It was pretty low-fi kind of film. 28 Years Later has a 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I want to rewatch this movie because I've only seen it once, but when I watched it, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was such a breath of fresh air in the horror genre. And I haven't seen Bone Temple yet. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's not doing great at the box office from what I've heard. I've seen some clips from it and stills and stuff, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I may check it out once it goes to streaming. But 28 Years Later I thought was really good. Here's another one where I would have bought this on day one if it was like 2 years ago. I'm being more mindful about not consuming so much. And I watched it on streaming. again, I thought it was great. I had pretty low expectations for 28 years later. I was like, okay, how many were like 20 years later we're putting out another one, and it's like, is this going to be good? And I don't know. But I thought it was really fun. Gory. Some of the way it was shot was, as I recall, this is just going from memory, some of the way it was shot I thought was really abstract, really like, you weren't prepared, I wasn't like prepared for it from an artistic point of view. I thought it was really different, really original, and a really fresh take on, and if I know they're not zombies, but they're kind of act like zombies. I know this is like a virus or something, but I thought the infected looked really good. The makeup was really good. Yeah, I just thought it was a really fresh take on the whole 28 years later, on the whole 28 franchise, if you will. So if you like the original 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later, and you're looking for a bit more of the same, but through a kind of a different filter, different lens, a bit more abstract, really, really big. I remember there was a couple of like really, really big shots. Really quite beautiful looking as well for a horror movie. The next movie was Companion, which I mentioned a little bit ago. This was directed by Drew Hancock, and apparently this is his one and only directing credit. This stars Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid again. The budget was $10 million, and the box office was $36.7 million. Companion currently has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is another one where I thought I got into it, low expectations. This is again another one like Megan, where it's, well, I don't want to give it away, but it has that kind of AI kind of vibe going on, and robotics and AI gone wrong. Sorry if that's a spoiler for anyone. But yeah, I really liked that movie. I thought it was, when things are revealed to you, it's very jarring. And I was in for it. I was all in on it. I thought it was really fun. Just a cool, and it seems to me that maybe that's the way horror is going, in a bit more of a sci-fi, psychological, technology gone wrong kind of vibe, which I'm all in for that. I mean, Stepford Wives and Westworld and movies like that were, all my life I've been watching those movies. So for me, this was just like a fresh version of that. And maybe that's where the genre is going to go, which is fine by me. I mean, AI, we're talking about AI everywhere now, to the point where it's like ad nauseum. Oh my God, stop talking about it. But yeah, Companion was really fun. If you're looking for that kind of style movie, I would highly recommend it. And it has a lot of really jarring, horrific moments in it. And that brings me to my last movie of 2025, guys, which is Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, directed by Rob Reiner. Rest in peace, Rob Reiner. Starring Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer. The budget was $22 million, and the box office, unfortunately, was $3.2 million. This has cameos from Lars Ulrich of Metallica, Questlove from The Roots, and Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers. And they all are in the movie being offered the gig to be the drummer for Spinal Tap. And of course, they all turn it down, knowing the unfortunate end that drummers face when they join the band Spinal Tap. This also has a cameo, well, several cameos. Paul McCartney's in it for a bit, and he's really funny. Like, he's like in the studio while they're writing something. He's like, guys, I might have a suggestion for this. And they're just like, who is this guy? Like, who do you think you are? Like, so funny. There's also a cameo from Elton John in it, which I won't ruin the end, but it's hilarious. And Elton John is really in on this movie. Like, he jams with them in the studio, and he's wonderful. Everybody in the movie was great. I thought this movie was really sweet. I've already talked about it a little bit in a previous Hangout video, but I thought this movie was really sweet. It's sadly a send-off, I guess, for Rob. It's a send-off for Rob Reiner. I'm assuming it's a send-off for an unexpected send-off for Spinal Tap, though they may do something else. I don't know, but I thought it was just a really sweet movie. It's seeing your heroes. They're old, they're tired, but they're still there. They're still doing their thing. And these actors, they're all ridiculously funny. If you love Spinal Tap, this is Spinal Tap, you'll probably find something in here to love. To me, I kind of thought of like Clerks 2 and 3, kind of, not, they were to me better than Clerks 3, but kind of had that vibe. It's like, you've been with these people for all of your life, and here they are again, and it could be one last time. And I thought it was really sweet and really funny, really, really funny. There was a part where, the interviewer saying, Rob Reiner saying like, "Oh, you guys were denied admittance to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame," and then Christopher Guest is like, "Oh, it's actually worse than that. It's like, we got a letter and all it said was fuck off." And like, I spit my coffee out that night watching that. It was just so funny. And all it said was fuck off. It was really, really funny and sweet. There's some of their big hits are in there, of course, Stonehenge, and what else did they do? Hellhole, I think, was in there. There was a bit about in the original, they were talking about the first song they ever wrote, All the Way Home. There was a little nod to that as well. Christopher Guest is running so they meet up with all of them in the present day, and Christopher Guest by far had the funniest thing, which is he was running a shop which sold guitars and cheese. And you can imagine what the conversation sounded like, which I thought was kind of a fun nod to the end of This is Spinal Tap, because at the end they're like, if you weren't playing in Spinal Tap, what do you think you'd be doing? And Christopher Guest is like, "Oh, I suppose I'd be like a salesman, working in like a hat shop, a chapeau shop. What size would you like? And so it was kind of a nod to that, I think, which I thought was really clever. I don't think it got great reviews. It bombed at the box office, but Spinal Tap 2, by far, I thought was probably the sweetest movie. So I'll run through the movies again, just in case you want to have a catch-up. Clan in a Cornfield, turned off. Elio, kids movie, did not touch a review for that movie. Woman in the Yard, turned that one off. I Know What You Did Last Summer, avoid like the plague. Lilo and Stitch, just stick with the original animated. Smurfs, couldn't tell you one thing. Well, Rihanna was Smurfette. Thunderbolts, unless you're a Marvel Comics nerd and you need to see every Marvel movie, probably not. Jurassic Park Rebirth, and I think they're making another one too, which is unfortunate. Nobody 2, if you liked the first Nobody, you might want to check it out, but don't go in expecting it to be really revolutionary. It's just repeating. It's like John Wick and then John Wick 2. Novocaine, again, just, I don't know, a forgettable action thing. So, middle of the road, Phoenician Scheme, Fantastic Four, First Steps, Weapons, Frankenstein, Sinners, and I would add Together in that list. And then my top movies, or better than mid, Heart Eyes, Megan 2.0, The Monkey, Final Destination Bloodlines, Bring Her Back. I might put at the bottom of that list. It might be closer to a mid for me. Companion, 28 Years Later, and finally Spinal Tap 2. I really have been wanting to do this video since the end of December, but just one thing after another. Sorry. So glad to get this done, and I hope you enjoyed my look at 2025. Nothing real stellar. I have not seen One Battle After Another yet. I have not seen The Keeper. There's a few that I haven't seen that I do want to see, so they may, find their way onto a later updated version of movies of 2025. But I really couldn't say this was my best of 2025. This was just movies I watched last year because I really didn't think there was anything that memorable. I was thinking of 2024. We had, and some people will say, and so what? But I thought there was Alien Romulus, there was Beetlejuice, Terrifier 3, and Nosferatu, sort of like summer to winter of 2024, which I thought was a better year, and I think I bought all of those movies on physical media. This year, as far as new movies, yeah, I got Final Destination Bloodlines, which I watched twice, and I just decided I probably wouldn't watch that again, so I did pass that along to somebody else. And then the other one I got was Heart Eyes, which I bought the DVD, which was like $15, and I was like, if I can't watch this on streaming, it's not going to be a big loss for me. It was a good movie. It was quite fun, but am I going to rewatch this? I don't know. That said, it is almost Valentine's Day, so maybe some people would rewatch that for Valentine's Day, but I'd probably be not revisiting that. But anyway, that's my thoughts on 2025 films. Let me know in the comments below, are there movies I missed that you think I might like? Or if you agree with me on some of these, or if you think some of my picks were hot takes. I know Megan 2.0 is not on many year-end lists, and Sinners is on everybody's number one, but I'm just being honest, and I'm not trying to be like cool or hip or whatever. I'm just telling you from the heart, like, this is my feelings on these movies. And there were so many movies, like the video would be like 3 hours long if I was to do like a big deep expose on all these films, but that's what I came up with. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me, like I said, in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this list or these movies, and if there's anything you think I missed that I would like. Again, I have not seen One Battle After Another or The Keeper, which The Keeper did not get great reviews. I know One Battle After Another got a lot of praise. And that's it for me for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me on my birthday. Love to hear from you. And if you want to subscribe, you can. And if you want to give me a thumbs up, you can. But there's no pressure to do so. I'm not on social media anymore, so this is the only way I really communicate with people. So feel free to leave a comment below. And I might do a hangout video in a couple of days, but we'll see. We're on the verge of another big snowstorm coming Sunday, Monday, so I may have some extra time on my hands to do something in that realm, but if not, I'll see you next time. Take good care of yourself. Stay safe. If you're in the United States and you are of sound mind, I send my thoughts and prayers to you. Hands off Canada. Elbows up, baby. And that's it. Okay? Okay. Signing off. My last video at age 55. And I will see you in the next video. But until then, as most of you may know, if you follow my channel, you know the drill. Until next time, I'll see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. But until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.